I think the last thing we did was not accept another's apologies. I think so. Hopefully the meditation has some effect. And anybody find the meditation difficult? Yep. Yeah, it's quite easy to talk about spirituality, isn't it? You always want to be wary of too much talk. Forgiveness is the main game in town. But that's in, if we're going from the Book of Love and the Sufi world, that's what will prevent us going into paradise. It's not being able to forgive. And if you're a lover of Yeshua, it's his main prayer. If you're not forgiving, if a Christian is anything, it's someone who forgives. This is the central prayer. Forgive us our trespasses as we forgive those who trespass against us. Every day, all the time, just like. So what does it mean? It's not just some. It's one of the hardest things. Like meditating for ages, it's still like a very hard thing to do. And you can definitely understand why spirituality a lot of the time is secret, right? Because the ego just likes to be able to think it can do things when it can't. And if you can't handle, for example, the idea that you've been with Jesus for 10 years and you still can't forgive someone, you'll pretend. You'll convince yourself. You'll say the words, I forgive you, and you'll go, and then you'll push down this resentment. Because I should forgive, because that's the main practice. And then you end up cold and unforgiving, as many people who try to follow the Christ are. You can end up putting rags with diseases into American Indian camps in the name of Christianity. Can't we? Now, what's the mechanism? It's the ego. Can't admit where it's at. And because it wants to be, it wants to have these special qualities. No? I'm not talking nonsense. I mean, and you push down who you really are. And this is the journey. It's we're moving towards something that we want, and at the same time we have to accept who we are as we are. It's a paradox. Yeah. But when we mix in the fact that we're constantly changing, then who are we? It's actually a very powerful way to understand emptiness. At what point can you ever pin down the self? There's never a point where it's still. Maybe there's some phenomenon. If you think of moving water, you imagine, or just some phenomenon that it's never still. What can you ever say what it is? But our images of ourselves are very static. And when we're doing the meditation, right, the images we have of someone might be from 10 years ago. As if they haven't changed. Because you haven't changed at all, have you? You haven't done anything in 10 years. You're just exactly like you were 10 years ago. Yeah, you've no remorse for any of your actions. Yeah, you didn't understand that was a bad action. The person that you're thinking about might be reflecting on it every week of their lives, wishing they'd done something different. And I mean, we want to be very gentle with ourselves about it. But if you want to get into philosophy, then, and you get into karma, then you were the karmic cause for them to do that. You're in it. You can't separate yourselves from them. We're in it together. Why did they do it to me? And as if this human realm should be a pure realm, right? You know, everyone should act perfectly. But I hope you did. I'm sure even someone like Hakim's done something really nasty in his life at some point. Have you, Hakim? Yeah. Yeah. It's a good one to reflect. Imagine no one ever forgave you. Nah. That's who you are. Like, imagine they just kept defining you by. Imagine you got famous and then there's like, it's in the newspapers. That's who you are. I mean, now they're jailing people, right, for who you were years ago. Yeah, you sent a tweet 2 years ago. As if a tweet is who you are. It's not exactly a wise culture. But this is what happens when you start to get rid of Jesus as well. That's the downside. You start to dismantle the universal Christ. And it's just materialism. It's not good. So, we're this is a bodhisattva. This is the point of the meditation. Bodhisattvas forgive people. We can see what a momentous and incredible thing to be a bodhisattva. So it's like what a Christian really would be like. We know it anyway. We all know that you have to walk the talk to be the thing you're saying you are. And to be a bodhisattva is a very incredible thing. It's an incredible thing. Part of, maybe we can reflect on it further in the meditations, on presence, going, I want that. Like, just feel what presence is like. I think, how would it be if I was like that all the time? Why am I losing it? And what am I losing it for? So I've met someone who's had his entire country annihilated. So very similar. So it would be the equivalent of being in a country and everyone in Edinburgh dies by being invaded by the Chinese. Now imagine that the Chinese can kill everybody in Edinburgh. They'd actually kill more, because it's only 500,000, and half of Glasgow. Yeah. If you can imagine. So if you just imagine, it'll be just like, imagine that I flee from the country, from the Chinese, yeah, end up in the States, and I'm happier than you are. Totally free and light, just like bubbling with joy. That's what Venerable Geshe is like. And a lot of the other Tibetan masters. Just had their families massacred, their lamas crucified. Just totally joyous. It's not talk. It's not, oh, I have to work through some. Totally joyous. They're quite aware of what the Chinese did. That's a bodhisattva. Right? It's still real. It's not therapy. It's not like working through your personality and how to deal with this. Just like whew, a different dimension of like what presence can do. You can take on anything. I'd rather be like that. That's the thing we're working towards, right? That's inspiration. I'd rather be able to have my family massacred in front of me, and I can take it, rather than someone steals a sausage out the fridge and I lose it. Right? What do I mean by you lose it? You're in pain. You're unhappy. Yeah, you're just constantly unhappy. Not that you're wrong or is anything wrong with you. We've just trained ourselves in self-cherishing. Now we have to train ourselves out. We take these people as inspirations that it can be done. But we don't pretend that that's easy, and we don't pretend that someone like Venerable Geshe was born like that, although some of them are. Some of them are.